Yeah, from a I guess injury standpoint, Tyler a little nicked up with the knee from the Providence game. He'll be game time decision with the knee. Probably more likely, I think, that he'd be able to go, but there's a potential he may be out, but we'll see. That's it. I think a Cook, wasn't feeling great going into the last one. I think he's a little fresher and a little more available for tomorrow.
Okay, Gav.
Hey, Dan, you guys played him tough last time. How much have you kind of grown as a program since then?
Well, coming into that game, we had, had some really tough non-conference losses that a game could have won. Xavier and Charleston, Indiana at the Garden. Game before that, we were coming off the Wichita State double overtime game. So, we were no longer, I think, embarrassing or sorry, that may be a strong word. We were no longer like non-competitive and really dysfunctional. At that point of year two, we were starting to we were starting to feel better about the way we were performing. And now obviously just to think about how we've grown the last couple of years while going up to a much different type of league for us. Feel good about where we're at. Obviously, tough game tomorrow, but I feel great about where the program's at.
Neil?
Along the same lines a little bit last year, did you guys, you're never looking for moral victories then or now, but did you kind of get some sort of belief that you could almost play with anybody? Did you guys kind of feel that, and did that carry over a little bit in the offseason into the start of the season?
Yeah, we felt, it was excruciating to go through, those difficult losses, but, from those close losses, but you could feel the growth, you could see the growth. You could feel it, that our time would, that better times were coming if we just stayed in the fight and continued to try to develop, the right habits as a program. And then, obviously some of the things can only be remedied, through player development and recruiting. So, in the end of last year gave us a lot of confidence going into this year.
Aaron Bracey.
Hey, Coach, I just got on, so you might have said this, but two questions. Number one, how excited are you to be back in the Big East playing Villanova? I know you've played them, but now that you're actually back in the Big East, that's number one. And number two, what are you going to do to stop their three-point threats?
Yeah, I mean, the first question's a lot easier, more fun to answer, so I'll take a stab at that. I mean, it's it's awesome to be back. It's it feels natural. These the stage that you're on in the Big East is different level. It's got you've got all the eyes of college basketball on you when you play in the Big East, and obviously for us to play a marquee game tomorrow versus the best team in the conference, who's just been ridiculously dominant. It's exciting, and for us in terms of guarding them, that they're so unique with their offensive, with the way they play, and just how the way that they post up their guards and invert you. They hurt us from three last year. If you turn your head or you relax or you close out short for a second, if you don't guard that 3-point line, you've got no chance to beat them. So obviously the guarding the line is critical.
Joe Zone.
Dan, this game tomorrow do you treat it like, hey, it's just one more of these great games in the Big East, or are you encouraging a little extra incentive, a little excitement, a little more bump in their step for this one?
Yeah, I think it's always natural for for players to be obviously more dialed in for a game versus one of the premier programs in the country, not just the Big East. Villanova's been maybe the best program in college basketball the last several years. So it's a big opportunity for our guys. But they're going to have to really rise to the level of this game, because we're going to see the best version of Villanova tomorrow, coming off a tough road loss. They've had a week to practice and prepare, and I'm sure they've had some really tough practices. So our guys have to rise to the moment tomorrow versus one of the elite teams in the country.
So are they more dialed in, do you think, the last couple of days?
No. I think that there may be a higher level of excitement, but
okay.
Our preparation is no different for any game we play. We're diligent with the way we prepare. We respect every opponent. We're in no position with where we've been the last several years for us to try to get up for this game and not be ready for the next one. Things haven't been going that well around here lately.
Okay. Dave?
Dan, Samuels hurt you last year, and is that kind of indicative? I mean, they might not go, 9, 10 deep, but indicative that they really have 6, 7 guys who can hurt you on any given night pretty badly.
Yeah, I mean, any of their starters, could be the best player on the floor for them in a given night. Can get them 20. Multiple guys can do that. That's the scary thing. And going into last year's game with Samuels, he was shooting such a low percentage from the field going into the game from 3. He was shooting such a low percentage. Can I? That's all right. I'm so sorry. How you doing? Yeah, going into the game, we played the numbers and we played the numbers in terms of, we wanted to chase others off the line. We wanted to be aggressive in our ball screen defense to try to take Gillespie and do a great job with Bay and to disrupt their rhythm. He had to beat us last year, and going into the game, it was the right play. He wasn't shooting well, but it's a much different situation now.
Jeff?
Hey, Dan, if I could ask a question away from the game. College hockey uses a mathematical formula, basically a computer, to pick its NCAA teams. This year, they're going to have a human touch because of the COVID, obviously. Yeah. But in the future, if I told you that there was a mathematical formula, say the net ratings out, just picked it straight out, nobody in the room, no selection Sunday surprises, and you knew during the season where you stood, instead of guessing you're on the bubble, you knew if you had a win or not. Would you? What do you think of that? Or do you like the human element, or could you live with a computer deciding and knowing all along during the year?
Wow, I mean, hell of a question.
I was afraid to break it on you now.
I think we're too reliant on technology nowadays to begin with. So I'm going to go with you. I'll take, I'll roll with human error. I just think that so much of the metrics, have some type of major flaw with it. If it's the net ratings this year, which overvalues road games and hurts teams that didn't get the volume of non-conference games to really load up on wins, and front load. I look at all the different metrics have flaws. So I'm going to go with the human I'm going to go with human beings. Hopefully, people that have a background in a deep background in basketball specifically, though. I would request to be in that room.
Thank you.
Tom?
Yeah, Dan, with James coming back last game, did you kind of see the growth of the people around him that, I bet earlier in the year when he was playing, you're looking for secondary scorers. And when he dropped back into that mix, you got what you got from Tyrese, got what you got from RJ. So do you kind of see that playing out the way you hoped it would, where you have people around him now strengthened by playing in his absence, now helped with his return?
Yeah, it was obviously wasn't best case scenario. Best case scenario is James doesn't get hurt and Dre is healthy, and we're probably sitting here with having a much different conversation relative to where our season's at. We're probably, I don't even want to speculate on what our record would be and what we'd be ranked right now if we don't have the injuries. But yeah, the team was able to to win enough games and to kind of stabilize our season while James was out. At that time, I think RJ has, over the course of James, I think RJ's improved a lot, especially the last couple of games, his leadership, his play. Tyrese has grown a lot. We've been able to get Andre minutes, those last couple of games while James out, to get him comfortable on the court. We've gotten a chance to play Adama a lot. Not a lot of teams in our league that are successful at the top of the league are playing multiple freshmen, or even any freshmen for that matter. So, we've been able to, keep our head above water, and then while James was out, and go 500 in a really hard league. And now it's, we've got James back, and can we go on a run at the end of the year here?
Couple more guys. Dave, hurry up.
Yeah, just the famous quote last year, better get us now because it's coming after the Villanova game. I know maybe you already kind of answered this, but I guess when you look at where you are right now, a little over a year later, are you kind of where you expected to be maybe at this point in time?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, we've got a way. We're competing in in a really meaningful game at the top. At the top of the Big East, while competing for an NCAA bid. So that's obviously growth with where we've been. We obviously, in James, we have a guy that, is going to be a first-round pick, potential lottery pick, to kind of, start that. UConn, a tradition of putting guys at the highest level. We've obviously recruiting right now for, we've got a top class coming in, and I think we're doing a pretty good job in the next class too. So, we feel year three. I wasn't talking about any specific, day when it was coming. I just that once our recruiting and our player development and our culture is in place, the UConn will be back to its rightful place in college basketball. That day is coming. We're not here today, but it's coming.
Got it.
Dan, Andre's played 4 games since coming back from injury. How has he kind of settled in?
Yeah, it's just it's been a great experience for him. What we could do with him on the court defensively, with his length, and what he could do as a facilitator and as a guy that could get on the glass, and just his physical presence at close to 6'7", and just what he brings athletically changes our look significantly. Throwing him out there with James, and Tyrese, and potentially guys like Tyler around one big and a point guard is it's a really athletic group, and he's a huge part of our future. But he's also we need him to help us win now.
Last
Thanks.
one, Mike.
Hey, Dan, you mentioned Villanova likes to isolate people, likes to post up a lot. How unusual is that in the college game today? And if it is unusual in your mind, does that make it difficult to guard and put a lot of pressure on the individual defender?
Yeah, I mean, it takes tremendous amount of discipline to as a coach to coach and teach the system. It takes an incredible amount of discipline as a player, to play in the system. They're so fundamentally sound, and and it's different than anything that you'll see. You don't have trouble sleeping the night before. Most games at the college level worrying about your point guard getting posted up, or is your secondary handler going to be able to guard, be able to play post defense. So, it's such a different type of preparation. We had 2 days to get ready for it. This game is going to be all about battles won and battles lost. They switch a lot of things defensively, so we're going to have to. We're going to have to make plays and make shots and go by people, and we're going to have to play great one-on-one defense, because as soon as you help, they cut or they step into a three. So you've got to be really smart and really careful with how much help you give.